Total WoW is dead. 8 years, thousands of players, custom content Blizzard never built. Blizzard killed it off and deliberately banned their team from handing their codebase to anyone who might continue it. Only a few days later, a server went live with that exact codebase. Everything fully functional with playable characters from the old server migrated over. The whole thing running. This is Capybara Paradise. I did a technical check and background check for this new Chinese version of Total WoW to tell you if it's safe or not to play there. And I can guarantee you will be surprised about the results. We scanned OctoWoW and Ascension already. This is video number 3 and this one works differently from the start. Let's start from the beginning. A quick context for anyone new to the series. I do a complete background check to the project and I also do a technical research by taking the official launcher, upload it to VirusTotal to see what's inside and what it's doing in the behavioral analysis tab. I already did this for OctoWoW as well as Ascension. The signature detection tells you if an antivirus has seen that exact file before. The behavioral analysis tells you what the file does when it runs, what it accesses, reads and writes. The taxonomy we use is MITRE ATT&CK, the same framework used by corporate security teams and threat researchers. It gives precise, consistent language for what software is actually doing on your machine. In my last video, OctoWoW's installer showed a behavioral profile including clipboard access and webcam capture. An installer has no legitimate use for either of those. To be precise about what we are actually measuring this time, we are not scanning the WoW 1.12 game engine itself. That binary is identical across all vanilla private servers and carries its own known vulnerabilities regardless. What we are scanning is what each server ships on top of that engine, for example their launcher, their bundled components, their distribution package. That's where the differences are. That's what's in your hands when you download. Now, Capybara has a twist in the methodology that I want to address before we get to the numbers, because this server's security picture is genuinely more complex than either of the previous two, and I think getting it right matters more than getting it simple. But first, I want to show you the structure of the organization behind Capybara before we go into the technical analysis. So, understanding the security picture of Capybara Paradise requires understanding who built it, who's running it, and whether those people have ever given anyone a reason to trust them. The answer, once you trace the history, is a bit harder than you might expect. We had the legal case on August 29. Blizzard filed a federal lawsuit in the US District Court of California in 2025. The defendants weren't just the server as an entity. Blizzard named individuals of Total WoW. One of those individuals, described in the court filings as the owner, primary operator and driving force of Total WoW, is named Julia Safko. I probably butchered that name, but he's also known as Torta, also known as Shanna. This name will be really important soon. The court also named AFK Croft Limited, described as a Hong Kong registered shell company that was legally involved in the operation. They applied the RICO Act, the same statute used against organized crime networks, to the whole structure. The judgment was entered in Blizzard's favor. The resulting order covered not just the shutdown of Total WoW, but they also banned the transfer of the codebase to any successor. Only 3 days later, Capybara Paradise launched. So, who is Shanna? For anyone who's been in the WoW private server community since 2017, the name Shanna carries specific weight. After Nostalrius, one of the most beloved vanilla private servers ever, was shut down by Blizzard in 2016, its developers had to make a decision. They trusted their codebase to a new project called Elysium. Elysium was founded by Shanna. It was built on the promise that it would carry over Nostalrius' non-commercial, community-first philosophy. It was explicitly, publicly pledged to never be monetized. That promise was broken comprehensively. Internal leaks and whistleblowers from within Elysium staff documented that Shanna had been diverting funds from the server's donation pool into his personal accounts. Separately, an administrator known as Croak, who handled Elysium system administration, had used his database-level access to generate virtual gold and fully geared characters from nothing and sell them to players for real money. Those weren't just rumors, they were confirmed through leaked voice chat recordings in which the participants discussed what they had done. Rogue in those recordings downplayed the figure, describing it as only $5,000. Both were officially removed from the Elysium project after the scandal broke. Blizzard's court filings in 2025 confirmed what the community had suspected for years. Porter, the primary force behind Turtle WoW, was really Shannon. So who is behind the Capybara team? The people running Capybara Paradise are the former SEA administrators of Turtle WoW, the team that ran the Asian realm Ravenshire, launched in September 2023. They operated with significant autonomy from the Western Turtle WoW infrastructure. Their own GMs, their own support channels, their own player data. After the shutdown, they migrated the full server-side database for the Asian player base to the new domain. Asian players logged in on May 17th on Capybara with their existing credentials and found their characters intact with their high-level gear, items, everything else. Western players who start there start at level 1. That asymmetry created an immediate structural power imbalance between a fully equipped Asian veteran population and a fleet of Western players starting from scratch, which has real implications for how the in-game economy functions and who benefits from it. There is a reason the SEA team and the leverage to take the database. Community observers have noted that Chinese players consistently represented the majority of Turtle WoW's revenue stream. They brought the lion's share of the profit. The SEA administrators weren't a side operation, they were the primary economic engine for Turtle WoW. When the shutdown came, they had every incentive and apparently the access to preserve that engine under a new name. Rogue's specific involvement in Capybara's current infrastructure is not proven but highly suspected by the community. As a Western player, you don't install a launcher for Capybara. You download the original Turtle WoW Mystery of Azeroth 1.18.1 folders and replace the realm list with their WTF file. I scanned refiles from the Capybara zip, not just the WoWX, also the .dll files. Looking into the WoWX, we had two detections, Trend Micro and Trend Micro house call. Those are Classification, Pro, Renos. 69 others lead. Renos fires on heavily compressed executables. The Capybara client was reduced by roughly 80% through aggressive file packing, a legitimate technique that also happens to look identical to how malware hides codes from scanners. That's the flag VirusTotal is seeing here. That's the entire explanation. On the behavior profile, we have basically one tactic and two techniques: obfuscated files and software packing. Two labels for the same fact: the file is compressed. We have no clipboard, we have no video capture, we have nothing in persistence, so we have nothing we got from OctoWow scan. Those findings are not present here. The behavioral fingerprint is the file is compressed. That's it. The TW loader also showed 0 detections. It's digitally signed, actually unusual for private server software. Behavioral profile consistent with auto-update behavior and regional server selection. We have one flag, the system location discovery. It queries your geographic location, most likely to route you to the nearest server. No collection flags, no input capture, clean. It's basically the same file from the old launcher. Then there's the third file, the scan. This showed a Cynet malicious score of 100. But Cynet is not a basic antivirus. It's an enterprise EDR platform, an endpoint detection and response. The kind of tool corporate security teams use to catch advanced threats. The score of 100 here is probably just a false positive trigger. The MITRE profile has 19 info-level findings. Most of them are process injection, system information discovery, process discovery. All of this have a plausible anti-cheat justification. Anti-cheat needs to see what's running, that's pretty normal, so the anti-cheat argument covers most of the profile here. So even with a sort of clean scan, there are risks built behind this platform's architecture that VirusTotal can't measure. There is no traditional installer. You download a pre-built zip and run it directly. The advantage? There's no persistence mechanism, nothing left running when you stop. The risk? You accept the entire package on trust, every DLL, every executable files, assembled by a team you cannot verify. When an update arrives, you download a new zip with no changelog. Every file ships in that package, whether you know it's there or not. The scan DLL shows the input capture in both collection and credential access. That's a documented behavioral capability inside a component that ships with the client for the warden. When Whether it's being actively used or exists purely for anti-cheat is not something a VirusTotal scan can answer. The capability is present, the code is in the package. Another point, AFK Craft Limited is registered in Hong Kong. China's national intelligence law legally requires companies to cooperate with state intelligence work when requested, regardless of their own intentions. That obligation doesn't disappear because a server is marketed to Western players. It's the same reason governments have flagged TikTok. The legal framework creates a structural risk that no operator statement can remove. There's one more layer to this that's worth naming. Capybara Paradise operates a real money shop. Donation points are sold primarily via cryptocurrency, specifically because Western payment processors like PayPal have blocked or frozen funds for servers like this in the past. The historical pattern from the same network confirmed at Elysium, alleged but unconfirmed at Capybara, is that the administrators themselves participate in the gold-selling economy they run. If the operators generate gold from the database and sell it back to players, the economy is structural, corrupt by design. You cannot know from outside the database whether that's happening. What you know? The people allegedly running the server have done exactly that before on a confirmed and documented basis. Okay, I'm not telling you not to play Capybara Paradise. The server has over 11,000 concurrent players at prime time. There are people playing it right now who are having a great time, and that's real. They use add-ons to automatically translate Chinese to English to make communication easier. What I'm telling you is, know what you're installing and on what machine. The scan came back clean at the executable level. The file level risk is lower than OctoWoW. But lower file level risk does not mean no risk. Especially your data is not safe on a Chinese server host. Take at least minimum precautions. Use a dedicated account with a separate email, nothing reused from your main accounts. If you can run it in a virtual machine, it's even better. They also have a high motivation to keep the server running. It's already a lucrative ongoing business for them, so the risk of it being a scam and disappearing overnight with all your funds and data is extremely low. Nevertheless, SuperWoW is a closed source component with an auto-update capability inside the folder. You don't control what it pulls down in future updates. If you are on a machine with active crypto wallets or banking sessions, consider that carefully and check what you download. Gameplay-wise, there are also a few problems to consider. Multiple players reported active botting and 24-hour node camping on resource nodes. This is a gameplay quality issue separate from security. Another point is the auto-translate add-on you are forced to use. This add-on can't translate cultural context. While the translation on the fly works fine during leveling, it can become a huge problem in endgame. When communication gets more complex, a lot of information will get lost in translation, which can lead to frustration and a really bad gameplay experience through problems between Western and Chinese players. Another point is the ping. This is a problem especially for EU and American players. The server is hosted in Asia. Eastern European players report 150 to 200 ms. Players in Western Europe describe spells activating a full second after pressing the button. NAND power helps with spell queuing, but reactive PvP gameplay is genuinely impacted. Factor that in before you commit time to the server. And in either case, this is a server with significant legal exposure. Blizzard has already targeted this codebase once. A second action is not impossible. So don't invest emotionally in a platform that could disappear after an attack from Blizzard overnight. Okay, let me separate confirmed facts from analysis. What is confirmed? Porter, formerly Shanna, is identified in US federal court filings as the primary operator of WoW. The same individual founded Elysium in 2017 and was removed following documented embezzlement and gold selling by his co-administrator Grove. The court ordered the codebase not to be transferred to a successor. Capybara Paradise launched 3 days after the shutdown of WoW using that exact codebase. The server is operated through AFK Craft Limited, a Hong Kong shell company. The client includes a closed source component, SuperWoW, with an auto-update capability you cannot audit. Rogue's current role in Capybara's infrastructure and the Everlock parallel is something which can always happen again with no security net against it. Notably, this criticism comes not only from Western observers. Community members report that parts of the Chinese diaspora itself refuse to play Capybara specifically because of the administrator's history of selling equipment and code. The The VirusTotal scan of the 3 components showed a clean scan. So finally, it's your decision to play on Capycraft. It seems safer than OctoWow, and the dev team seems to be more experienced than OctoWow's as well. The developers have no incentive to shut down the server for a quick profit, since it's already very profitable in the long run. A honeypot scam is really unlikely here. Nevertheless, it's a Chinese server, and that brings its own risk. Economy manipulation could happen by their own admins, which we can't rule out. Gameplay-wise, the high ping is a personal turn-off for me, and translation add-ons can't translate context from Chinese to English. In endgame, this communication issue can become a problem on complex mechanics and might lead to frustration. Overall, if they release a Western server, I personally might try it out, but on a virtual machine with specific login credentials there. Until then, I won't play on the China server for shown issues. What do you think about Capybara? Have you tried it out? And how is your experience on it? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. If you found this useful, consider to like, subscribe and hype this video for more World of Warcraft content in the future. Special thanks goes out to my channel members who support me with their hard-earned real-life money. You guys are just awesome. See you all in the next video.